Why can't I live forever? Why must we die? Why can't we just live forever? And how do we become immortal? One incident was, of course, on my father, who had a stroke. Watching him lying there, unable to even remember my name, that was quite a shocker to me.
People who are so optimized, they have their supplements, they have their routines, they biohack. Then suddenly they have an autoimmune disease. Suddenly they have cancer. What do you think went wrong there?
Doctors are now no longer believing or even preaching what they learn in medical school and in the medical system. They are just being trained like a robot.
So technologically advanced, so much capacity to do so much things. But why are we so sick?
I think it's nature that is not tame or controlled that led us to this situation probably.
Nature?
Yeah.
Tell me more. Before we begin, I want to let you know why this conversation exists. Today we have Kit Mah, and he is a biohacker, a nutritional and functional medicine practitioner, and his story began when his father suffering from a stroke and he has to drop everything in his life to fly all the way to India to help his father recover. That's the moment that changed his life, and he stopped treating his health like something to be fixed, but something to build before the emergency comes up. Now, Kit is the founder of the Healthspan Provider and one of the leading voices in functional and nutritional medicine in Malaysia. 15 years of helping people prevent chronic disease, restore their energy, and quite literally reverse people's biological age. But what makes him rare isn't the science and the knowledge that he has, but his ability to read the labs like he is reading an astrological chart. Meaning he can understand what's behind the numbers and tell you the best way to work out a practical and comprehensive lifestyle intervention that can change your health and your life forever. Now, I wanted to sit down with him today because so many high achievers like us are running on empty fuels. We are breaking our bodies down just to perform, and I do not think that's a sustainable way of living or even a way to live, because we are designed to find freedom and happiness and success. And Kit right here talks about longevity from that perspective. There is a moment in this episode where we talk a little bit more on the philosophical understanding of longevity and what does that mean for us. And we demystify all the trends of biohacking and what it means to build a health that is a foundation for everything in your life, including your performance, your success in business, and your relationships. We even touch upon a controversial topic on whether humans are meant to die, and to see if the cutting edge technology of biohacking, bioengineering are able to not just improve our health span, but also our lifespan, so that we become the best version of our human potential. One small thing before we begin. Most of us watching this aren't subscribed yet. And I understand, because I do the same. But this show exists to shine light on moments of darkness, and you subscribing is able to help you and I find each other. It costs totally nothing, but it means the world to me and my team, and our mission to share this show to many more out there. Your presence matters, so let's take a deep breath together. This is Kit Mah. All right, Kit Mah, welcome to the Lighthouse podcast. Thank you for driving all the way up here to the forest to come and have this conversation. Right?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here and to witness this amazing, beautiful place, very nicely set up.
Mm-hmm. And today we're going to have a conversation about many different things, right? But I just want to just go ahead and start. I mean, a lot of our guests don't need any introduction for you, right? They can find you, you're an influencer, fitness influencer. And today you're really working on a mission to provide longevity options, biohacking, functional medicine for a lot of people.
Yep.
So I'm just going to dive right in, like, hey, how did this journey start for you? Why transition from fitness into like longevity and functional medicine?
Sure. So I think to start with this story about why from fitness into longevity or biohacking is really more to the initial purpose of what I want itself. So what I want since young, since before I could think of anything else, before I have an ambition or anything, was why can't I live forever? So this was that thought in my head, and it was with me since when I was like very, very young. And that was a question I asked my parents as well, my mom especially. I never really got the answer, like, why must we die? Because why can't we just live forever? And how do we live forever? How do we become immortal? So I need to probably dig deeper to find out the answer lah. But that was the real reason that led me into this continuous pursuit of health improvement. So the first level of health improvement that I embarked on was the first stage, and that is trying to be physically healthy and fit. And I think that is the easiest level for anyone on earth to attain, because being physically healthy and fit is only just addressing the superficial physical layer, which if you put in the right effort, with the right knowledge, and with time and patience, all done correctly, you achieve the results. That's why people can achieve amazing physical transformation and look great. Of course, it needs a lot of discipline as well and commitment. But then again, beyond that, it's where the true passion is. And that's where longevity and functional medicine and biohacking is. Because internally is what really matters at the end of the day. Internally, where you do not see any of those red flags appearing, and you don't face with a situation where you look good, you are young, and you just drop dead unexpectedly. So that has always been the goal and the whole pursuit. Because having a six-pack, looking great, looking young, healthy, and fit is not everything. It's about living the longest and the healthiest and being as functional still for the longest time possible.
Right. For our audience and listeners, right? If you have not seen Kit Mah without his shirt on, you should check out his six abs, man. But yeah, that's again what we call like a vanity thing. And I think what you're trying to say is that health and longevity, the foundation comes a little deeper than that. But before we go into that, I'm very curious, as a child, to be asking that question. I'm not going to assume that there's something that happened to you, but do you recount any memory, any moments that lead you to the thought of asking and inquiring, why can't we live forever? Where did that come from?
Yeah, very good question. So I don't know whether there was influence from shows or entertainment media that I was exposed to, but I do remember watching a few of these shows, and one such shows was a cartoon called X-Men.
Okay.
You watch X-Men?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's a good one.
So which is your favorite character?
Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
Actually, I liked Cyclops when I was a kid, but eventually it was Wolverine, yeah.
So for me, the one I really, really liked was this character known as Apocalypse. And Apocalypse, he is, of course, a villain. But he is a powerful villain, and he's a villain who is known to be immortal. And the way I look at it is, wow, he has probably one of the best attributes, being able to survive millennia and live all the way to see how things have progressed and changed, and come in again whenever there needs to be certain interventions. So if we can achieve immortality, I think we can unlock so much secret and wonders of the universe. Because right now there are a lot of things that are still unanswered.
Yep.
And probably that's one of the reasons that drives me to that. It's that curiosity. Then I went to do a bit of soul searching, and I uncovered even more things about myself. So I'm a very curious soul. This was what I was told. And I wanted to know about a lot of things since my past lives. And I believe right now, even in this life, I'm still trying to learn and uncover certain things, which is a continuous journey, I guess. So that's why I think that immortality will allow me to attain that.
Right. So let's say this is a very hypothetical question, right? If you know that you're going to live forever, and you have immortality, and you have this body and the soul resides here, what would you be doing in your life? What would you go and find out? What would you be curious about to go discover?
I think there's a reason why I'm on earth and as a human.
Right.
Is to experience what human experience, to have emotions, feelings, and go through that path of being human. So that's essential.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And some say that's suffering, though.
of course. But I think it's still part and parcel of a journey. And so to be emotionless and to be non-human, I think that is also something that I can connect with.
Okay.
But then again, I have to bring myself back to earthly world where being human, being emotional, being connected is what that makes it beautiful to be human itself.
Right.
So that's why sometimes there is this problem where people always think I'm weird, I'm an outlier, I don't fit in. And I guess it's probably for that reason or that way I come from, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a really unique way of thinking and looking at the human experience, and it informs a lot on how to live. Because from what I know, when you can contemplate on death, it really is also an art of living. There's a lot of like ancient traditions.
Of course.
It's really always
course.
talking about how, like, you know, if we can understand death, then we can understand life.
Sure.
So, speaking about death experiences, do you have any moments where, you know, something just freaked you out, or death was just so close to you that makes you and drive you to go like, oh my God, I really need to figure out this longevity piece out?
I think there isn't one that has happened to me yet, but of course, in my life so far, there were a few incidents that has really propelled me to really go into this deep. One incident was, of course, on my father, who had a stroke. It was in 2018,
Okay.
where he had a stroke, unexpected, in the middle of a flight on the way home to
Were you
Malaysia.
there with him?
No, I wasn't there with him. He was there with someone else. Then he had a stroke, and during that time, then it was only after he has arrived in an emergency landing made by the plane in an unknown country. I mean, unknown to us at that time. It was India. Then when I realized that, oh my God, he had a stroke, and then that's when I had to process all that very quickly, and then took an emergency flight over there also to assist him. And that was there, I think I put everything together, and that was there. It wasn't a death experience, but it was an unexpected emergency incident that made me very worried and scared at the same time. Traveling all the way there alone, didn't know what to expect or think of, except knowing that he couldn't speak, he couldn't see, he couldn't communicate, and the situation isn't looking positive at all. So that was something that has made me thought that wasn't death, but what's going to happen? And then when I was there, I was also quite shocked, as I never seen him in this kind of position before.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, all the while, my father, I always look at him as someone who is strong, brave, and very independent, very capable. But watching him lying there, unable to even remember my name or say certain things like pen or calling an item a chair, for example, that was quite a shocker to me.
Yeah.
And obviously, due to the time that he had a stroke in the plane to the time that he landed into the emergency unit was a very long gap. A lot of things could have already been damaged and irreversible.
Right.
So I think in that kind of situation, I just need to do the best, and I had to be strong, and I had to follow certain principles that I abide by. And I know that definitely it can't be the conventional care and conventional approach. Yeah, although he was in a conventional setting, which is a hospital,
Right.
being monitored.
Yeah.
But I monitored it with my own devices that I brought with me along. I used to carry a CGM along with me, so I measure blood sugar level.
What's a CGM?
Okay, so it isn't a CGM but a glucometer. Right now it's called a CGM. So
Okay.
before the CGM, the continuous glucose monitoring that you attach in your arm or in your belly, can be transmitted to your phone in real time.
Okay.
To track your glucose level was used, like now. I was pricking my finger every now and then just to monitor the glucose level, because that's quite important to understand, especially with your habits and the food that you are eating.
And how does that help someone who is having a stroke at that time?
First principle is you want to manage the sugar levels. You never want to have sugar level spike, because when sugar levels spike, all hell will break loose, which means that your immune system is under attack, your inflammation levels skyrocket, your oxidative stress goes high, and you're just causing more damage.
And that's not recovery.
No, that's not recovery. Yeah. That's a very basic thing that everyone should just be maintaining and monitoring the levels to be in a very good, reasonable level to facilitate the recovery process, along with many other protocols as well. But that was one very simple thing that can be easily be done, and is cheap and accessible and affordable. So this was what I did. And then, of course, whatever food choices, the hospital food was not designed to cure and for recovery. And probably if you were to follow the hospital diet, it will lead to more damage. And the damage is somehow subdued just because of the medication, which only addresses the symptoms. So being aware of that, I had to make a lot of change. So definitely changes to the diet. Yeah. And I had whatever supplements or so-called nutraceuticals I carried along with me, I give to him as well in the hospital setting.
I see.
Yeah.
And how long were you there until he recovered?
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks before he got the clearance to be transported back using a commercial flight back to Malaysia to be in a hospital. So I had to take that time there to arrange for that. But most important, you need a clearance from the hospital to fly.
Right.
So recovery was smooth and good because, like I said, 2 weeks, he managed to fly back.
Yeah.
And we managed to get it cleared off within that 1 week span, which was quite a phenomenal transformation, I would say, using my approach, of course.
Right. So what I'm getting is that we're having certain principles down, doing certain protocols with the aid of nutraceuticals, and it sounds very technical, like with the knowledge base that you have, and you were able to apply that, and then the recovery was just like spot on. Did you expect the recovery to happen, or is it like something that you don't know what's going to happen, but you try your best?
I think I do not know how the medical professions will perceive me, and how the hospital setting, the doctors or dietitian or which gave a dietary plan that was also rubbish would perceive me, because I kind of like did everything my way.
Yep.
But of course, one thing I had in me was confident, because I'm very confident that whatever I do will work as intended.
Got it.
So it was during that time that it really challenged me to stick by and stay true to what I truly believe in, and not be confused or overwhelmed by so-called higher authorities, or just because, I'm not dismissing the standard approach to healthcare.
Yeah.
They are probably the best when it comes to emergency and traumatic events, infections and all that, or injuries and all that. They'll probably be excellent at that. But I think when it comes to the basic principle in terms of helping the body heal itself naturally as possible, I believe I know better.
Right. I would love to get into that, but before we get into that, I just want to touch this topic between like being a man in a world that don't really have a lot of good male role models, right? You're a father yourself, you have a son, right? And I wonder, during that time when you were showing up for your father in such a way, how did that relationship go? And I mean, to give some context, why don't you share a little bit about what was your relationship with your father? And then seeing that he is kind of like in his deathbed, but he's not really, right? Or he's weak and fragile. How did that change for you? And how did that inform you more as a man in the world today and a father?
I think So I not only think, but I know for a fact that I am from a very typical Chinese race family. Being typical Chinese race family means that we respect our father figure. He's like the head of the home. He will have a stern, strict character. He will not say soft words like "I love you" and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So indirectly, I think that has shaped me into who I am also. I can say that now to my son when he is young, but I do not know if I will be like my father when I am older. So of course that kinds of scares me because I do not want to lead under the same footstep, which I think that there are some flaws there. Growing up in a typical traditional family where the male is always behaving this way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what I mean, but let's just say for our international audiences that's listening to this, who
Yeah.
doesn't really know about our Asian
All right.
male culture, and how's it like to live under a parent that is strict, stern, disciplined? Yes, he has that role model of like, I'm a father, I command everything at home. What missed out for you, and what you wish you had from him? And what will you do differently?
So what I wish, I don't know, but I know for a fact that I need to have better communication channels established with my son. So I think communication was one. I have a communication boundary with my family, and of course it is for specific circumstances that has led to that way.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I believe that could have been better, should have been better, and would definitely be better if it's addressed.
Right. Did that change when you were taking care of him in the hospital?
Probably to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still can't, I mean, it's definitely not something that can be resolved over that, because any kind of true connection or engagement requires two parties.
And when he came back from all that incident back to Malaysia, he recovered. Did your relationship change?
I think it is still
Shaky? Okay.
And I have really come to terms with it.
Okay.
I mean, I have to come to terms with it that he is, no matter what, still my father.
Yeah.
But I have to accept it that he will always be this way.
Yep.
I do hope he change, but then again, at the end of the day, the one that would have the most consequences is the person himself. I can only do my part.
Absolutely.
So I come to terms with that, and I think when you come to terms with that, then you don't feel burdened, you don't feel at fault, because you are doing all that you can humanly possibly do. And I think that's important, to do what you are humanly able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is an emotional aspect to certain events as well, and a manifestation of disease, as you know.
Absolutely.
Because I don't just believe in the physicality. Yeah, true. Physicality layer, like when you take sweet things, you add the insult to the inflammation levels and all the oxidative stress and all that. But there are always some kind of emotional realm or spiritual realm that connects to create that manifestation. If that even makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think my audience could really appreciate that.
But this is not in convention. I mean,
Conventional
it's
medicine.
not even taught in functional medicine. Of course, there's a certain mental layer there and emotional layer there. But this is how I explain it out usually to patients.
Understood. Right.
Yeah.
And how did that incident change you as a person and as a man today? Like, how did it inform your work?
So it made me realize that the world is lacking, because my approach is very different, very unconventional. And I think as long as, even today, when I see a lot of patients who has already seen all the doctors and conventional settings and they were told a certain advice or certain regime, certain medications for life kind of crap, I know that definitely this is something that I can be here on earth to do. I can definitely fix all of this problem and give those who wants to have true health rights the ability to do so.
Beautiful. And that's where I want to get into right now. Because here's the thing, right? We live in a time where there's so much chaos, crisis, change, things that we used to rely on is breaking down. Economic system, political system, right? I'm seeing things at a very holistic level. I myself experience in the medical system, I have an autoimmune skin problem, right? And was medicated my whole life, and eventually I have to go through so much just to find out that I can actually heal from this. And we are also living in a time in history where people are more obese, there's more sickness, the people are more burnt out. And it's almost like a, pop a pill kind of culture kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And even in my experience, seeing functional doctors, alternative therapies are looking at health in a very similar model. You got a problem, let me fix it for you, right? And I personally struggle with that kind of thinking. So before we talk about what's right, what do you think went wrong for us? Why are we so technologically advanced, so much capacity to do so much things, but why are we so sick?
I think it's a nature that is not tamed or controlled that led us to this situation, probably.
A nature?
Yeah.
Tell me more. What do you
So
mean by
you see, this is just my opinion, of course. And my opinion is, I think as a human species, we always want to strive to be better, strive to have things done more efficiently and try to work less, get more, which is good. But then again, it causes us to be reliant. And that's where reliant is a weakness, because reliant is a desire, and this desire can be used to manipulate us as well, where we become less of who we truly are. So there are a few ways I want to use to describe this thing that I just explained. One is reliance on processed foods for convenience, for ease. And processed foods are designed by scientists or corporations that makes it addictive, makes it so palatable, filled with calories, with just that thinking of just the purpose of just feeding someone when they're hungry. And this has become a norm eventually that puts more than half of the population, almost the whole world, into that obese state because of that fast food, processed food, junk food, full of toxins, full of unnecessarily empty calories. So that's one. Yeah, so it makes things very bad from a health point of view. And another thing is now I see as a reliance on automation, on AI, things that make us become very lazy to think.
Yeah,
to
I
just
think
rely.
I always say that we are the people who are super optimized in everything, but we are so sick because of that.
You're right. So the problem is basically just that, where as long as we are driven by that desire to work less, to have the easy way out, and seek for instant gratification. Instant gratification meaning that we want it now and fast. We get attracted to ads or marketing phrases that says that fat loss in 10 days or something like lose 10 kg in 1 month. That kind of claims, which is always sound very
promising.
Yeah, very very desired. Who doesn't want that? And then lack of that critical thinking and judgment as well, and always only seeing the end results of things. Like we look at someone and say that, wow, I want to be just like him, but they don't see all the dark side of things that he has to go through to achieve that success.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem, where everyone just want fast, easy, shortcut. So if you ask me which one will sell better, Panadol or a vitamin, probably the Panadol will sell better. And it's just proven one. Because Panadol solves the pain immediately. They want instant gratification. Who wants to take vitamins which doesn't solve the pain, right? So it's always the thing where you can either gravitate towards a pain or pleasure. But at the end of the day, if you can distinguish and pull out yourself from these two realms, then you get to be in control and you get to be aware of really what's going on. So I think if we are all more aware and having that right foundation instilled in us since young, then we won't get tempted or desire or have the desires for all these things that would try to distract us.
So it sounds like there's a lack of awareness, the lack of consciousness, lack of education.
Yeah, education here doesn't mean going to the best university or having all these documents to show that
Right.
you are certified in certain things or what.
Yeah.
I think that education is probably that awareness. Yeah.
Before we go further, a quick pause. If something in this conversation hits you deeply on the inside, do not let these ideas and insights go to fade. There's something that I say that insights is just another beautiful experience, but insights, when you apply, create a potent and powerful transformation in your life. This is why I built the Lighthouse community, and I bring people every single week to talk about the insights that is being shared in the episode so that we can create an open space, a safe space for us to discuss, integrate, and apply this beautiful wisdom that is shared in the podcast episodes into our lives. You'll find leaders like you across Malaysia, across Asia, and some even in the United States, sharing conversations, experiences, and insights where we pull all these answers together to figure out those 2 a.m., 3 a.m. questions that linger in our consciousness that we would love to be answered. Every episode has its own discussion, and when you come into this space, you get to also bring and share your unique insights into the space and contribute to each other's lives. The link is in the show notes. Come and join us and find your tribe. I'm on a mission. When we all come together in a community, we can co-create a brighter and more beautiful world that we know is possible. Now back to the conversation. You know, one thing that I have experienced with you, right? I go to you for, my checkups and everything, and you are looking at my blood report and stuff like that. What I found is that you're very thorough. Okay. And you're very you look at the details, the things that was in the normal marker was not quite normal in your perspective, and that's something that we don't see very often. And I want to highlight a little bit about your education because you are so fascinated with the subject of longevity and health, but you're not a medical doctor, all right? I would love to know, why didn't you took the path as a medical doctor? And instead, why do you choose a different path to educate yourself instead?
So, when I was young, I still did science.
Okay, what did you do in uni?
I pursued more on the physical and mathematical part of science.
Oh, okay.
And so my degree was actually a mechatronic engineering degree.
Damn, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was still in science. I mean, science field is big.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's biology, there's chemistry, there's physics, there's mathematics, of course. You need all this in order to do any science field. But I resonated more with physics because I was really good at it, and mathematics. And that eventually gave me that path to engineering, although I was still extremely interested in biology and chemistry. So I think that was the past decision done. And it didn't end at there, because even when I was still having my engineering degree, I still pursue that continuous journey on learning to eventually having a master, and now I'm pursuing my PhD in biomedical science, which is more relating to the biological medical part of it. Yeah. So the good thing now in this era is the things have changed, roles have changed, and you even see doctors have changed. Doctors are now no longer believing or even preaching what they learn in medical school and in the medical system. They want to step out away from it because they realize that there is a monopoly there by the pharmaceuticals. They are just being trained like a robot, and those who realize it knows that there's so much more that they can do to really transform and to give proper healing to their patients. So that's where they embark on this journey as well. And when they embark on that journey, they learn a more natural approach, they learn a more longevity, biohacking, functional medicine approach. And this is the reality of the world we are in today, where they come over into the wellness world with their medical knowledge, and that is superb, I think, because they would have been in both worlds to be able to navigate it well. And for me, I would love to go for medical school now, but I think I would rather pursue a PhD instead. Because in medical school, a lot of things is just limited and is based on pharmaceutical syllabus and structure, which is what you need to break out of. Yeah.
So what is one of the biggest beliefs that you have to unlearn about health as you dive deeper into the truth of longevity, the truth of human health? What is something that you have to oh my God, I have to unlearn this, otherwise I wouldn't pursue further into my own quest of really understanding true longevity?
I think the thing that exists in the world today, that is this thing that is holding all of us back, is called a dogma. Certain things that is accepted as the universal truth. So as long as we have dogmas, we will never progress.
Right. So what's one dogma you had to really let go and unlearn?
Won't be say unlearn, but each time when I attend a certain course or when I interact with a certain subject matter expert or anyone at all, I will always come with a fresh set of mind. I will pretend like I have to switch. I have to pretend that, not pretend is a very wrong word here, but I have to come with that identity that I know nothing about the past of it and start afresh. So I think that is more of an efficient way to learn, rather than coming with a preset of thinking, a preset of things that you think that you are right and you understand certain things. So I think that's quite important, because I need to see it through the lens, through the perspective, through the thought of that subject matter expert or that professor or the doctor or whoever. So this is how I do in terms of my learning.
Got it.
So the learning will be so powerful if we can just embody that person as much as possible. And this is how AI learn also, by embodying the subject matter expert. And then you switch. And ultimately, it's like a collective of knowledge that you feed together.
Right.
And then how you navigate that collective knowledge that eventually can come out with probably the most precise solution for that particular person.
Got it. You see, I my whole life I've been a patient, right? And I want to pick your brain on this. What happens when you have really conflicting ideology and approach to health? And I remember, just counting my own experience, going to this one person, it says things a certain way. And then you go to a different practitioner in the same field, it says something completely different. And since you learn so much, how do you actually tie all of this in to drive a conclusion, to provide a solution for your clients?
I think we can only provide what we are confident in and what we have personally experienced or familiar with. There's two things that happens when you interact with a patient actually. One is you actually learn a lot from the patient as well.
Yeah.
What they have done, what worked for them, what didn't work, why are they in that certain state still. So all these are information. It's how you want to use all this information, decipher it, and then use what information that you again know of and learn of and apply it again. So then this is how it would work. Certain things might work, certain things might not work, and this is where it all boils down to the individuality. So I think there is no such thing as one size fits all. That's for sure. And having that kind of principle and approach when you're approaching cases or when you're approaching situations in life is very important.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And is this why Healthspan Provider calls it the concierge way of treating your patients? It's like a personal concierge to healthcare.
Yeah, I think that's one of the rationale why I started with a concierge model, because it needs to be very directed, and I set it up with a belief that I do not just want to serve quantity of patients. I feel that it should be on the quality of patients, because not everyone will have that awareness and acceptance towards what I can truly do for them.
Right, it sounds like it's a two-way thing. It's like,
Yeah,
healthcare
exactly.
is not like a one-way,
Correct.
I'm responsible for your health, and
Exactly.
the patient has to be responsible too.
Exactly.
Right.
There are certain people who will not even think of unconventional route to go about their health. They wish to only trust their doctor, who is a very well-known cardiologist, and they think that I just need to follow him and do exactly what he says, listen to exactly what he advised me in, and that's fine. So they decided on that and they go ahead with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fine. I'm not going to convince him to disagree with whoever that he wants to listen to.
Yep.
They are free to go about that, and they are free to experience and to go through the whole journey with them.
Right.
So I think that is a very important thing that I would want to share at the end of the day. It's always about their decision, and we should respect their decision. Of course, if they ask me if I were them, what would I do? Then I'll tell them my honesty. So I believe honesty has always been my policy. Be as honest as you can, be as transparent as you can. And I'm not in it for the money. So that's the distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm one of your clients. And this is
thank
why
you.
I trust you, man. I think there's principles that people carry that I truly respect. And one of them is the thoroughness, right? For the second one, of course, is the honesty and the integrity. Of course, the skill has to be there, right? Which is like you equip yourself with the education. And again, what I appreciate about your mindset, as you explained just now, is to bring yourself back as an eternal student. Develop that beginner's mindset to receive things anew and rearrange the information. From my perspective, as a philosopher, coming from a philosophy education, I think before anything, when we have a wrong philosophy, everything downstream is just wrong.
Of course.
Right? And this is just highly, very, very potent. Now I want to bring our attention to this, right? It's a hot news right now, but I don't think this is anything really, really new, all right? Is that people who are so optimized, they have their supplements, they have their routines, they biohack, they are going through things, and then suddenly they have an autoimmune disease. Suddenly they have cancer. Suddenly they have all these kind of things. Again, like, what do you think went wrong there? Because the most recent news is definitely the news on Brian Johnson, who spent $2 million a year on his hacks. But he mentioned himself, right? His stomach is eating him inside out. Something called autoimmune gastritis, right? From my personal experience, I remember I met one uncle, right? As a kid, 15 years old, we played badminton all the time. He's the healthiest guy I knew. Brain tumor, brain cancer, and the next day he passed. Like,
was he vaccinated?
that one I don't know, but I was 15 years old. Just to put it into context, that's like what, 2005, 2006, and again, it's like when moments like this hits, like, what is health? Then people will come to me and say, oh, what's the point of eating organic, living all this lifestyle? You're gonna die anyway, and then you're gonna get cancer or autoimmune disease anyway. What's the point of doing this? Then there's the other side of the argument that I've seen as well, is people go into a fear mindset of like, oh, I need to double down on my supplements and all this kind of thing and spend a lot of money in there, and yet health is just suboptimal. So again, right, we are really trying to understand what went wrong. What's the foundational things that went wrong in terms of our approach to health?
Very good question. And while you are describing all of this, I just remembered about this this similar thing as well. Situation where I asked a philosopher once or so about the situation where if let's say there is a couple, the wife treat the man really good, like the wife treat the husband very good. She's a perfect wife. She makes his breakfast. She takes care of him and everything done perfectly well. It's exactly what every single man would dream of. But he still cheats on her. So then what went wrong? I mean, she was a perfect wife. So why did he cheat? I think there isn't really an answer to that, but in a very cruel reality is if she got cheated on, it means that she was just not good enough. So to put it very bluntly, if for all the effort they have put in to take care of their health, and they still have a health problem that is still unresolved or unmanaged, then it means that they haven't done all that could be done as good enough.
Right.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, is certain things can't be reversed as we know it today. So it doesn't mean that they can totally wipe off the fact that they have an autoimmune disease. But what can be done better is it can be managed better. So I think that is one of the reality that we know of today as of now at this current point of time, without looking at anything so fancy, So like gene editing, for example, that's fancy stuff. So without talking about any of those kinds of things, we can actually manage it better. So I think, in my opinion, certain things we may not have full control over. And even in health, we can only do what we can. And here's the thing about the organic thing, like why you want to eat organic or why you want to put so much effort to be healthy. It needs to come from the perception of the person feeling good doing that. It cannot come from the perception of, I feel this is a very
chore.
Yeah, a chore, and this is very suffering to do. Because the moment you feel that it's too much, it's giving me stress, it's a chore, then it's not going to work. So it needs to come internally as well with an acceptance. Yeah. And for me, although I think that I'm quite spiritual, but I'm still very logical because I track every single thing. So I did track a point of time where I reduced the number of supplements, and then I tracked a time when I increased the number of supplements, and I felt better with more of the supplements, and I do see that biomarker results as well. I know that I definitely need more supplements to compensate for something that is in the environment that is constantly assaulting me, such as my environmental toxins or my autoimmune conditions as well. So definitely I need to rely on it.
Right.
So it's about, again, going back to that awareness and that knowledge or knowing why you need it and how you are managing or handling that situation.
Yeah, for someone who is completely new, right? Or in the journey, going through some health stuff. Because there's so many advices out there in terms of like how do you manage your health. So I'm wondering if you have some pillars or some foundations that people can come back to, right? That is something that you come back to when it comes to your health, and something that you would advise your clients to do. What would that be?
I follow this principle called know yourself, know your enemy, 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. So I always say that even in my talks as well.
Know yourself,
Know your enemies,
know your enemies.
1,000 battles, 1,000 victories.
1,000 battles,
1,000 victories.
retreats.
Victories.
Victories. 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
I mean, basically, the fact that if you know yourself and if you know your enemy, not to say like they're enemy, you know what I mean, but if you know yourself very well, you know the circumstances, the environment, anything can be an enemy. you will always be able to adapt and survive. So this is essentially what it means. But knowing yourself is so important because many people do not know themselves. So to know yourself, how now there are many tools, there are many ways, there are many tests you can do to understand. Another way to know yourself is just being very aware, being very in tune, going into that state where the answers just come to you because you get it from the universe. When you connect with it, it's just a part of that understanding that comes really with it.
Yeah.
So I think that's always the first step, just to be very aware, very in tune, and understand it. For different people, there are different ways to get there. A way that would surely get there is to actually do those tests and consult with someone who is very knowledgeable in this field as well. I'm not saying myself, but someone who can help them figure out what is really going on in their body from the cellular level through the genetic predisposition, and to paint all of this picture together for them, and ultimately allow them to understand it about them so that they can bring it back with them, and eventually it's their lifelong blueprint. So whatever situation they are in, they know what would work, what would not work. They would know how to tackle all of these problems when it arrives.
Got it. And what are the simplest things they can do right away to know themselves? I mean, from what I know, right? Food, nutrition, right? Nutrition, breath, movement, go out to sun, all those basic things. Doesn't seem very basic to the way our lifestyle is going, right? You could say that our work culture, our family culture doesn't really support a healthy lifestyle, right? Sedentary lifestyle. All right, we have work 9 to 5, and beyond that, we are glued to our phone, and work is just like, we are just bombarded with stress all the time, and we go home, we do stressful things like watching Netflix, even though that is something like is something that we want to do at the end of the day, but it's so stressful. What are some lifestyle change that you highly suggest for people to do it right away that is super, super effective, that they can just do it very simply?
So it's just going back to the basics and trying to align ourselves as close as possible to nature, to the way God has designed us to live. And that would mean sleep when the lights are out at night, of course.
Right.
And then wake up when the sun comes out.
Right.
Get sun exposure. Be as natural as possible connected to the nature. So that means that doing the grounding, regulating the circadian rhythm, we call it, which means doing specific things at a specific time as how it is intended to do. So following the world's clock closely, as close as possible, will regulate a lot of these things, including the emotional aspect to it, including any of those patterns that may be off, from overworking at night. I do that as well, but from overworking at night to only resting at night.
Let me be honest with you for a moment. There's so many of us learning and learning and learning, yet our lives have not changed. A lot of us go into sound healing, retreats, workshops, and we know so much but integrate so little. Sometimes we can even have a high, a dopamine high of learning new insights, new methods, new practices, and sometimes we can feel that inner peace within us as if we have already come home to ourselves. And then something happens. A cognitive dissonance is what I call it, where we feel so good on the inside, but our relationships, our business, our money is still as bad. And I know this because I have lived it. I have gone through 100 plus healing modalities, over 15 years through 5 continents, and yet I wasn't able to heal, and I was stuck in knowing too much, but so frustrated because I could not transform my life. This is why I have a 6 weeks transformational program that is designed to bridge the inner peace that you feel from within with all the inner work that you do to outer abundance, so that it shows up in your relationship, in your business, in your career, and in your money, and most importantly, in your health. This is for you if you are like me, that you're done with just learning empty things and unable to apply it into your own life. This is for you if you're looking for a container that goes beyond learning, but focuses on applying, taking action, implementing into our lives, where your inner peace finally is represented in your outer reflection in your business, relationship, money, and health. This is for you if you're looking to create true freedom finally, and you're ready to take action, implement, and integrate those things that you have learned into the rest of your lives. I'll walk you through my signature framework of taking those 5 steps that is going to create the true freedom that you're looking to manifest. This program is not for the faint-hearted that just wants to learn and test things out. There's no hype here, just deep, honest work. If you're in the season that you're ready to quantum leap and step into the life of true freedom in just a matter of 6 weeks, this is for you. The link is in the show notes in the description below under 6 weeks transformational program. Now back to the episode. So what do you have to say for all those high achievers who are just burning mid-eye oil and can biohacking protocol supplements assist and help them, to bring them back to optimization?
For sure.
And if so, what are things they can do and consider?
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm typically in that situation.
Exactly, that's why I ask.
Yeah. If possible, I want to live in a place like you,
Right.
where it is very much in a best environment. But for me, for example, this week I have to deliver 2 presentations, so I have to prepare those materials and all. And I'm going to work a bit later at night, but I would still try my best to sleep as early as I could. But then being exposed to the screens, to the light, to the white light especially, I can definitely use things like the blue blockers, and I can also take certain supplements to ensure my quality of sleep is really dialed in to keep me filled up for the next day.
Yeah.
And I don't overstimulate myself with caffeine.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to do is taking caffeine in the evening, which would then disrupt my whole sleep, even though I get to stay up and do my task. So I would look for certain things that would not throw me off balance, and being aware of certain things that is not ideal, but how do you compensate for that? Like the blue blockers,
Right.
and having a strict cutoff time, and of course plan is very important.
Yeah. So what can't be substituted? We tend to compensate, okay, let's add supplements here and there, or let's hack here and there, or let's do this protocol. What is it about the human body that can't be substituted by any form of protocols?
Because we are human, we need to sleep, we need to rest.
Okay. So it's sleep.
Yeah, sleep, sunlight, oxygen.
Oxygen.
Yeah. Water, clean air. I think these are the essential fundamentals.
Which is taken away from us in the city.
Yeah, and clean food as well, of course. Clean food meaning no processed foods, no food that has been filled with chemicals that would put a lot of problems in our health. And this can also involving our environment on the selection of things that we use as well, even in our homes and those kinds of things. So it's a whole living space and how we look at it. Yeah. There are certain things we may not have control over. For example, certain things that has been passed on to us through genes or through epigenetic, because certain of these chemicals can be transgenerational. It could be passed on from our grandmother to our mom to us, and we may not have control over this. Yeah.
Can that be changed through any form of tech or protocol that you have learned?
I think for now there are a certain way to manage it, because I do personally have known people with some strange disease and suddenly it just went away.
I see.
When the fact that they change and follow those principles we talk about.
Got it.
From the ingestion part of food and water to the environment aspect of it as well. So it completely went away after they done that.
Yeah, I remember that for myself with skin.
Right.
90 days, just clear out, nothing, as if nothing ever happened. even after like 15, 20 years of being bedridden. I think there's something to that I really believe, and I've seen it in my own eyes and experienced in my own body, and I definitely can see that. But I just want to take us to the wildest thing, medical case or healing that you have experienced for yourself, or seen for yourself, studied for yourself, that introducing all these fundamentals and also adding on to the supplements and the hacks if you have the budget to do so. What's the wildest medical recovery or healing have you seen for yourself?
Wildest?
That like craziest, like out of the world kind of thing.
There are many actually, because now I think we are in an era where we have a lot of access to a lot of things, including the peptides, of course, which, if done right, can create something like a amazing effect. Amazing effect meaning like not deemed medically possible, for example. So you can achieve that.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think the wildest one would probably be the meaningful ones. Meaningful one meaning that there's an emotional element to it. For example, the youngest case I have, autism case I have, was a 6-year-old boy who has autism, and this come from the parents herself, who was so happy that the son's condition improved after I just introduced only one remedy to him, and that was a zeolite drops. But of course, before arriving at the zeolite drop, we believe that it was due to the vaccination that has put him into that autistic state. So we also ran a lot of tests. Some of those tests includes the heavy metals challenge test as well, and we uncovered a high heavy metal burden, and I'm sure there are lots of environmental toxins burden as well in the child. So we use the zeolite drops, and true enough, he improved significantly.
I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, significantly. And I'm not even selling the drops, so I don't think that we need to earn anything by just doing something that can change someone's life dramatically. We just need to do the right thing and follow the right approach based on what, again, we know and we are aware of. So we help to bring the awareness on the heavy metal burden, environmental toxins burden, and the solution is the zeolite drops, which is easy to implement.
Very cool.
And it's not challenging. So I like to use that example because that is something that I feel very emotional about. Because you got to change someone's life, someone's trajectory of life, and this is so important because, as you know, caring for an autistic child is not an easy feat. Yeah. And imagine how many...
Yeah, you didn't just change one life, you changed the whole family's life.
Correct. But how many other people out there could have been facing this kind of situation and feeling very hopeless and lost?
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that zeolite drops is going to cure all autism patients. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Even there's a fecal microbiome transplant right now. Have you heard of that? Where you can just put the microbiome into your gut, and it can also create a positive effect in terms of improvements. So that can also be a possibility. Yeah.
Very cool. Let's come back to longevity.
Okay.
Do you really believe we can live forever?
Physically, in a human body?
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I think it's possible, and how I think it's possible is probably through transference of your essence, meaning that think of it this way, like our body is something like a hardware and we have a software internally. And I think that if this can be transferred, the essence can be transferred out from the physical body into another physical body, you can basically live forever.
You're saying that the soul transferred to another body.
Yeah. But of course, when you use the word like soul, there is a whole paradigm to that. In what I'm trying to talk about, which is in the humanly world is it can be possible to even find a way to transfer this essence into a clone entity of yourself, probably.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So this is something a bit
Out of the world.
Yeah, out of the world. But this is what I just feel that,
Okay.
that can be done.
Right.
Yeah. With what is happening now, where AI or machinery they're trying to do, there is an intelligence or essence or whatever we want to call it that can be transferred into something. And that is a way to actually live forever.
Right.
Yeah. Because ultimately, this is like just one realm, right? Earth realm. And there are many other realms. But the essence can be transferred.
Yeah. Can move around in different dimensions. Well, we are multidimensional beings, right?
Yeah.
And
The essence and the conscious.
it's forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we are already probably in that. We are probably already part of one thing.
Yeah.
But the fact is consciousness can change.
Yeah.
From different lives. It can change.
Yeah. One thing I know that is a movement right now in the world is something called transhumanism, right? And which is really about microchipping the body, bringing AI tech into the body.
Yeah.
There's also even like transferring your consciousness to a chip and putting there, and then you can transfer the chip to another body, and then you can continue to live on in a different body. What's your view on transhumanism and that perspective? What do you think about it?
Probably we are in a very early stage of transhumanism.
Yeah.
And I think more exciting things will eventually come about.
Will that change what it means to be human?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will definitely change. In fact, the AI is what is likely going to happen in the future, where there will be more reliance on it, and eventually it will replace a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of work as well will be done by an AI.
Right. And in an AI world, for you, okay, like, what does it mean for you? Because, like, how do you define longevity? Because longevity, for some people, is about living long. For me, it's about living a quality life,
Of course.
happy, meaningful human life. What's that for you?
It's the same. That's why we call it health span. Because the quality has to be there. If there's no quality, then it's just about measuring and tracking your lifespan. And that can be done. That has been done.
Yeah.
Everyone can live longer now with the medical support system and all other means to get that. But when you talk about health span, I think that is still a deficit that still exists. The health span is the years that you are spending in that pain-free, disease-free state and being very functional still. And that is something that is not improving at this current stage. In fact, it's declining because more people are getting diagnosed at a younger age now.
Right.
Of certain disease or debilitating conditions.
I have one few last question for you.
Yes, please.
Was it something that you feel that you can't fix right now, or you're dabbling with, that kind of worries you and you really want to make an effort to resolve, especially in the health industry, in how people approach health or longevity for that matter? What keeps you up at night worrying?
I don't really worry much because I think there are lots of other things I need to execute rather than worrying, because worrying will not help me solve the problem.
Okay.
In terms of longevity wise, I believe we have to find ways to change. Yeah, we are still actually trying to uncover ways to manipulate the human gene. Because if we can do that, then it's going to be something very unnatural.
Yeah.
So that is where there will be a dilemma and conflict that would come by doing that. You get what I mean? For example, we know like the jellyfish, they are immortal. But how can you have a part of that in you and then you can be immortal? So I think that is something that is not created by the law of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
That reminds me of X-Men, really.
Yeah, of course. It does. So there's always this internal conflict is what extent are you willing to go in order to achieve that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think we might lose if we achieve that?
Well, it's just we don't know.
Yeah, it's right.
We don't know. It's an
Right.
unknown. Because we are still on Earth, we are still a human, and we are still living in that rules that has been set in that realm.
Yeah.
So that means that you have unlocked a cheat code that allowed you to do something that is not supposed to be done in that realm.
Right.
So it's against the rules, against the law.
So we're playing with fire here.
Yeah. But whatever else that we are using in biohacking and longevity is all following the rules. And that rules is like the rules of the Hormesis, the principle of Hormesis, which is where we know that food restriction, fasting will give
For
a positive
anyone who doesn't know
health
what
effect.
Hormesis is, how would you describe that?
Something that will result in a positive aspect when it is introduced to you, but it will be negative if it's overdone. So for example, we know that there are few stressors that would really give us a positive effect towards health and longevity. Fasting is one of them. But imagine we don't eat anything at all, we'll die,
Yeah.
right? But incorporating fasting for a certain period of time will allow us to live longer if we've done right.
Yep.
Yeah. And other than food, there is also air, which was what is discovered in 2019. It's called the hypoxia inducible factor alpha, 1 alpha. So that is actually a Nobel Prize discovery where athletes have been using that. They go to high altitude places to train in the state of a very hypoxic kind of scenario where it will then trigger this HIF1 alpha pathway that would allow them to become better in terms of performance, in terms of mitochondrial function, stem cell proliferation and longevity aspect. And this is what is being used as well. It's Hormesis because we need to breathe in oxygen. If we don't, we die.
Yeah.
But having very low oxygen concentration at this high altitude place have given them that health promoting, performance enhancing ability. So that is using the oxygen restriction of it as a Hormesis as well. So there are a few other Hormesis also. Heat. We will die if we are overheated,
Yeah.
But in sauna, of course, you know about the benefits of sauna yourself because you are doing that. So sauna is using heat and cold. Cold as well is one of the stressors that if done right will also extend your aspects of health. So we know all these environmental things that can make us achieve a superior state. And this is what we use in longevity and biohacking.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that because we just basically debunk what longevity is really all about.
Yeah.
Right. It's about playing by the laws of nature and our biology
Correct.
for our greater good.
Yeah.
Right. If, let's just say, we've done everything right, what is the supposed health lifespan, let's talk about lifespan, of a human being? Some people say 100. These days, the average is like, 70, 80 years old. If you look into the spiritual text, people once lived to 150 years old, and so on and so forth. What do you think is the average lifespan of our best potential as humans in terms of health? What do you think we can go? How far can we go?
Probably in our era now, it can probably be longer than 150, I believe.
Wow.
I do think so, because a lot of things are being accessible now, as
Absolutely.
you know. There are people cloning their organs, editing their genes. All that is happening now. Of course, maybe not legally in the country, but there are very wealthy people who are into this. And this is exciting because it shows that there is, again, a desire there. And what will fuel the desire will be, will probably be money and
Right.
passion. Yeah, I think these two will really fuel that desire. Yeah, the restriction part can only contain until so much.
Got it. So, the Lighthouse Initiative podcast exists for one reason, right? Is to tell someone who's lost at sea that, hey, you're near to the land, right? And the land is closer than you think. So from everything that you've seen in your life, in your fitness journey, in your health journey, for yourself, and for taking care of your father, and so on and so forth, and imagine that you're speaking to one person who's in the dark about their health.
Yep.
What's a light that you would like to shine upon for them to know right now?
So if they are lost in their health,
Yeah.
I think they need to follow back in terms of that principle again.
And what are those principles?
So in any navigation, or when we are lost, we need to have a map. We need to have a map. So we need that laid out. And when you have that map laid out, then you know exactly where you are and where you need to go. And then you can get to find that direction. So it's probably as simple as that, where they need to probably establish their own baseline. They need to know at what state. And if they don't, and if they find it challenging, this is where a functional medicine doctor or a practitioner like myself would come in, because that is how I would map it out for them. So it always starts with a map and knowing where they need to go. Because if you don't have that whole map out for you, moving every direction is the right direction. Because there's no wrong direction. Every direction, even don't do anything, is also a choice, and it's also a decision that you can make by not doing anything at all. Or if you want to go to this direction or that direction, there's no right or wrong, because you don't have a map to navigate it, and you do not know where are you going. So going in any direction is still a direction. So again, it always falls back into that very simple principle where you need to map out everything. You need to know where you are, and that's the baseline. And then you need to know what and where you want to go. So that's just that simple. It doesn't have to be very far, like your purpose is to live up to 200 years old, but it could be just solving a highly prioritized health issue or condition that would mean something to them. This is how I would look at it. Of course, everyone's different, right? Like some people, maybe it's their fat loss problem that they are unable to achieve their whole life. So that could be something that can very easily be solved, fat loss. Just saying.
Yeah.
Some people it's a fatigue, and that can be solved as well.
Powerful. What are you excited about in the next couple of years coming? Is there anything that you would like to share about moving towards a future of greater longevity? What are you working on?
So I would like to assemble a team, of course. That's one thing that is happening, because I have been doing my concierge practice for some time, but eventually right now it comes a time where I need to expand and I need to fulfill more. So having a place is one way to go about it, but in terms of growing beyond that, which is just beyond the place, is also important. So yeah, I'll probably complete my PhD and grow worldwide as well.
Amazing.
But I need an amazing team to also achieve that with me. So it will be to grow the team and to grow this pursuit and this mission.
Amazing.
Yeah, it will be taking time, of course, with the right people, right fit as well. But that is the direction I'm heading to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For anyone interested, whether it's your mission, whether it's your values or principles, or maybe for them who wants to just map out a health direction with you, how can they find you?
So contact me.
Contact you. All right, contact you through social media or website or where?
Yeah, they can hit out to me through my company or through me as well.
Okay.
I think now it's quite a lot of this are very accessible. How would people reach out to you?
Definitely social media.
Yeah. So I think in social media is where we get a lot of this reach out of people.
Yeah. Cool. I'll make sure that I put that in the show notes and anybody can come and find you.
Sure, looking forward to that.
So, Kit Mah, thank you for being here in the Lighthouse. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
The conversation is amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
same
you.
here.